My journey to St. Paul's was a bit of an unexpected pilgrimage. I ended up going to England, studying abroad, visiting Canterbury Cathedral with some friends, and it was the first day that I was at Mass, and there was a George Herbert poem read for the sermon, and I think it was just that moment where I thought, so you read poems in church? I've never experienced that before. I didn't know that was a possibility. I had a friend who I went to Canterbury Cathedral with in England who said, I go to St. Paul's and it's this place and I think you might like it. I ended up coming my first day at St. Paul's and I was greeted and I, sat down next to my friend and, he said, don't worry about trying to, go through the Book of Common Prayer. Don't worry about the hymns. Like, I'll just flip through for you and I'll give them to you. And I just loved the quietness of the space and the movement of the people together, the bowing and the genuflecting, and how I could be a part of that body without even saying anything. I was received actually just months later because I was so sure of the place and so sure of my place in it and wanting to commit to the community. So I work at SPU Library, Seattle Pacific University, and I work in access services. So we're kind of the circulation desk at most libraries. We check in and out books, but also I'm a supervisor for student workers. And that's definitely my favorite part of the job. And SPU is a really big community, a really big part of St. Paul's. A lot of students like myself ended up there because it's close in proximity, but also a lot of our professors go to St. Paul's. And so a lot of professors talk about their faith in class, and some people think, maybe I'll try that out. That seems really different. A lot of my friends were English majors as well, and so I had the pleasure of, telling them, well, we read poems. We actually really love art, and artists are really supported here, and that was something that I think was surprising to them. Last year, I visited a monastery on Shaw Island, and one of the interns there had been Catholic in the past. And he kind of was telling me his story of his story in the church. And he just said, no, I'm not in the church anymore. And he actually was telling me that, he's gay now. And so he doesn't really know where to go. And, my face lit up a little bit. And I said, oh, I know a place that you can go. I'm in my 20s. And so I wish someone would have told me. Those years are just they're very interesting, very up and down. There's so much change going on in my life. And just having a place that's really constant and steady and always there is really, it's just very comforting. I think I really enjoy the Benedictine spirituality. So the idea that you should be rooted and grounded in your community and in your space and in your day. I love reading aloud. And so that practice is actually just something that, kind of invigorates my own spiritual life, as well as it gives, something to the service. And now there's an arts commission that I'm a part of, and so I'm really excited about the new work that we're going to be doing with the arts and supporting people, not just in St. Paul's who are artists, because, we have poets and painters and, musicians and all of these wonderful artists that, sometimes are pretty introverted and not necessarily the most, outgoing people. And so it's finding ways not only to support them, but also to support art in the community in Lower Queen Anne. There's just a lot of movement in Seattle. I mean, it's a city, it's a small one, but still everything is so busy and kind of anxiety driven, and our lives are just so back to back to back to back to back, work to home to, there's just a lot going on. And St. Paul's is a place where I can just slow down for, an hour or more. Slow down, reconnect with people, reconnect with myself and figure out how I'm actually feeling about this week, how I'm feeling about where I am in life. It's a family for me. It's a place that I know that I am always welcome, no matter what state I'm in, no matter how I feel about religion or God or any of that. It doesn't matter to the people at St. Paul's. They welcome me no matter what space I'm in. So I wanted some wisdom, and I definitely found that at St. Paul's. People who were, really excited about getting to know me outside of just the church. And I think that really played a huge role in my growth at the church and kind of a new commitment I made. I made a commitment as a young student who didn't really know exactly what she was getting herself into. And then later, just it felt like a more mature commitment. Years later, when I understood more about what the Episcopal Church was, what it meant to be, an Anglo-Catholic parish, all of these new things were just very enriching to, my new growth as an Episcopalian at St. Paul's.